Welcome to episode 10 of the Comedy Defect podcast. My name is Winter Phonander. I'm the host of the show. I've had a lot of great feedback from the last episode with Fred Ferenzi, a very different character act. He was very honest with me on the podcast, and it was really refreshing because every episode is different. I'm surprised how different it is. And I don't want to go through talking about comedy because it can get really repetitive. But the great thing about these episodes is I don't try to control the interview. I just want it to go to where it's going to go, because I know these people for a few years on the circuit, but this is for me just to kind of get to know these people a little bit better and find out where they're coming from and what inspires them and what drives them to become a stand-up comedian. I really enjoyed that episode. If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it because it was one of the best. I really enjoyed it. We've got a great episode for you today. It is with Philfy Phil Alexander. Now, Philfy Phil, if you can't tell by his name, is quite a dirty musical comedian. He has got an album out called A Few Good Songs, in which he's got two CDs. One is You Want the Filth, and the other one is You Can't Handle the Filth. You can buy that on his website. I really enjoyed chatting to him. We just got talking about the stuff that he does and what he's actually into. And you're going to really enjoy this episode. It's episode number 10. We've reached double figures. If you want to follow the podcast, you can. We're on iTunes. We're on Podbean. If you want to follow the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter at The Comedy Defect. If you want to follow me, I'm on Twitter at Winter Phonander. But if you want to come see my live dates, you can find them on my website, which is winterphonander.com, for all of my live stand-up dates. If you want to donate to the podcast, do. We're on Patreon. Just go to Patreon, type in The Comedy Defect, and you can donate as much or as little as you want. But if you can't donate to the podcast or kick something back to us, just give us a nice review, share your favourite episode, because it really helps. But I'm not going to talk for much longer now because I want to introduce you to the wonderful, the very musical, the very funny Mr. Philfy Phil Alexander.
How you doing? You alright? Caught you. I nailed that, didn't I? Jaffa cake in mouth, and I ask you a question.
Absolutely.
I'm getting good at this podcasting thing, you know. It just feels natural, you know.
Does that mean you've actually started?
Skilled. Yeah, we're started. We're off. So, good Jaffa cakes, right?
Very nice Jaffa cakes.
Sponsored by McVitie's Blair.
Yes, today's podcast is going to
See how many people we can annoy just by chewing on air. So anyway, digressing hugely, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
And what have you been up to this week?
This week I was... I've forgotten where I was getting
Alright. It's alright, mate. I don't know what day it is anymore, to be honest. Do you know, my girlfriend's alarm went off this morning, right? At 7:30. I jumped out of bed and went, what am I supposed to do today? And I swear, and she was like, Winter, you don't have anything to do today. It's okay, I have something to do today. That is not even your alarm. But it was just so loud, her alarm, that it freaked me out.
Don't tell me she doesn't even live here.
Shell shock. She doesn't even live here.
The alarm going off somewhere else in yeah.
I think yeah, maybe just got a sixth sense now.
Yeah.
I think it's because I did nights for so long that I'm always like half awake. But since not doing nights anymore, I just have that just like that kind of that thing in my head that goes, no, you're too relaxed right now. Something should be happening. No, you're enjoying your life way too much. No, something's about to go wrong. And then so the alarm was the thing that triggered it, you know? I think I need to see something about my nerves, maybe. I think it might be it. But, you know, you didn't have anything like that happen to you this week, did you?
No. I get to the stage where I wake up usually a few minutes before the alarm goes off.
Yeah.
And I have enough time to lie in bed thinking, shouldn't the alarm be going off about now?
Beep, 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 beep. Okay. And you feel like you're winning.
Yeah.
You're like, yes, I've started the day well, I beat that alarm.
The thing that surprises me is I'm doing that most days, even though I'm varying the time on my alarms.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And I tend to set the alarm not because I need waking up, but because if I don't set an alarm, I'll wake up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, which is basically thinking, when's the alarm going to go off?
Apprehensive, isn't it? You're trying to...
I've no idea why. I work at home. I mean, I could sleep till 10 o'clock and nobody would really notice.
Yeah. Maybe the lists are just getting too big. Do you try to do everything at once, or like one thing at a time? Are you good at that, or...?
It varies. I don't have a standard, I've got to do everything, or I'm not going to do anything. My current task is making a side gate.
Oh, right.
Because the one that I've got is rattling itself to pieces and I can't fit a lock on it.
Yeah.
So it's latched, so you can't actually open it from one side. You always have to go through the house. And because I'm trying to get out more on the bicycle, it's a pain in the arse.
Right, yeah.
To have to leave the bike, walk through. So
Yeah.
and instead of buying a pre-made gate or buying a assembled gate, I just went to the wood recycling place and bought a load of wood. I'm going to jigsaw some battlements in the top.
Yeah.
Paint it grey and stick a brickwork on it.
Some arching slits as well, just in case things kick off.
Yeah, Nerf gun ports.
You can buy crossbows online, but you can't use them for hunting. Well, why else would you buy a crossbow, isn't it, really? And you can get them on Prime, just in case you were ready to go into, your office day job or whatever it is with... you work from home, so that's not going to go well, is it?
Yeah. I haven't owned a proper crossbow since I was a teenager. So.
Yeah.
Longbows, mine. I've got a few longbows.
Composite or...
no. Most of them are live roleplay sort of strength.
Okay.
So for maximum of about £30 pull. So I've got one that's about 18.
Okay. It still kills someone though, right?
Not with live roleplay arrows because they're big foam padded heads.
Well, that's fine.
But if you stick real arrows on,
Yeah. But it's like a giant... I guess it's like a giant Nerf...
it's a bit heavier,
okay.
and you can do some damage with them, but combined, not too heavy a pull bow, a bit of care, but it's kind of fun. When I was teaching my children archery, basically they'd be on the patio shooting down at me, and I'd be picking the arrows and throwing them back again.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
So you're a LARPer. You're a LARPer then, are you?
Yeah.
And do you do that regularly? What kind of thing?
I used to do it regularly 20 years ago. Now my number 3 is kind of into it. He was a bit of a natural with a sword in his hand.
Yeah.
Picked up a sword and suddenly knew what to do with it without having that much explanation.
And so, what kind of live action roleplay is it? Is it like medieval or orcs and?
Yeah, it's fantasy. Defense.
Awesome.
Marvelous one called Hero Quest.
Yeah.
Hero Quest runs largely down in South Wales.
I've played the board game with the
it's this predates the board game.
Okay, all right.
The same chap who's running it as was running it when I first gave it a go 28 years ago. A chap called Mark Roberts, generally known as Shit for Brains. Shit for Stuff, this thing eons back. And he pioneered the really long 5-day in character for the whole time sort of adventure, and they're a bit of a mindfuck, but
I'll bet.
But loads and loads of fun.
Yeah.
Haven't done a full 5-day. I haven't done a full 5 day at all actually. I've monstered bits of 5 days because if you go along, you can either go along and pay, or you can go along and just be killed multiple times over.
Yeah.
And I would prefer just monstering because it's more variety.
It sounds exhausting though.
Oh yeah.
You've got to constantly think in that character. There's moments where you go, oh, what would this character do? And what character are you?
Like I said, most of the time I tend to monster rather than
a monster.
Which is basically I'm one of the orcs that gets killed, or but with a beard like this, generally speaking, the mages, I can never remember bloody spells.
Yeah.
It's a bit like trying to be a comedian and remembering jokes.
Yeah.
Can't remember the jokes at all. Can't remember the spells at all.
Yeah.
But no, I did NPC non-player character. The player was basically a Fu Manchu sort of.
Right.
So with the beard all nicely plaited and
a bit like a Big Trouble in Little China type thing.
Yeah.
Kind of styly. Yeah. Cool. That's cool.
Kind of fun.
Yeah.
But no, I was a fencer for quite a bit as well. So that kind of sword play has always been. My thing. The
beard just fits everything, doesn't it? It just fits all the things you want to do. It's like, well, what hobbies can I use this beard for?
It's stroking one's beard, trying to look like a stage. It doesn't work particularly well on an audio podcast.
No, it's true, it doesn't. But they can, you can see the dual sort of D'Artagnan type thing as well. One of the Musketeers definitely works. That's it.
Yeah.
There's lots of things it could really fit.
I have role played very Musketeer type characters in the past.
There's lots of some character actor for some kind of stuff. That'd work, wouldn't it? Fencing as well, got it nailed.
Yeah, the one thing that the fencing side did, it kind of ruins an awful lot of film-based swordplay because most of it is awful, and then every so often, what was the chap's name that did the was it Bob Anderson?
Right.
The guy who's actually inside the Darth Vader suit in the Vader versus Obi-Wan. But he's the chap that choreographed nearly all the decent sword scenes over the past 30, 40 years. He died relatively recently, not this year. No, he's not one of the 2016 massive.
What did he die of?
Old age.
Got shot.
No. I mean, he'd been going for years. Do you remember the film Princess Bride?
Yes. Yeah, brilliant. Loved it.
He did the swordplay choreography in that.
Oh, brilliant.
Because back then, when that came out, I looked like Inigo Montoya.
Yeah, you killed my father. Prepare to die.
And I was dragged into see it. Said, Phil, we've seen this film with you in it. And I said, no, he's not me. He's not left-handed.
Yeah.
And of course, first thing is,
a left-handed fencer as well. Very hard to defend a left-handed fencer, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't stand them.
Yeah, all open. That's it.
I can't work out how to hit left-handers. I mean, it's basically what you're used to, isn't it? Mm-hmm. The difference is that most left-handers are in the same sort of position.
Yeah, that's it.
And most left-handers can't hit left-handed. I've had some ridiculous fencing bouts that have gone on for hours.
Yeah.
Until people have said, "Look, we've got to stick a timer on this one."
Yeah.
And no, I one where I think we were fencing for if you like, for the first position to win in the plate competition. The plate is for the people that go out in the first 2 rounds. It's like the consolation competition, and it's just about the best I've done at a fencing tournament.
Was that national championships?
No, that was it would have been a county level.
All right, it's pretty good though.
But it was an open, so there were lots of people from a long way around. And so I went out in the first round because I always take a while to wake up. Mm-hmm. But by the time we got to the end, I was fencing against this guy that was I'm not the tallest, but he was even smaller than I was, but quite broad and simian length arms. You know, but we just couldn't hit each other. Mm-hmm. And because it was a final bout, they were very reluctant. And we ended up spending about 10 minutes on a final hit because any earlier in the competition they just had tossed a coin just to get it over with. Yeah. But because it was a final and it wasn't quite needing to be carried off the piece, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Arm felt very tight at the end of that, but no, it was
slog it out. That's it.
And just trying to just get the quick ripostes in, but not having the. So
you've got the physical riposte now as well as the verbal riposte.
Well, I talk about fencing being physical chess. You know, it's a very one of the things I loved about going back to fencing as an oldster is the ability to outsmart youngsters who are so much quicker and so much more energy and round the piece and moving so much quicker and yet just it doesn't take that much brain power.
I guess it's a quietness of mind, isn't it? We used to work in a gym ages and ages ago, about 10 years ago now, and there was this guy turned up to play the game of squash. He'd booked in like 40 minutes, and his partner didn't turn up, and I just finished my shift. He said, "Do you want a game?" I was like, "No problem." The guy was in his 60s, and I was like, "Yeah, I've got this." And he wiped the floor with me. I managed to get every ball, right? But I did not win one game. I did not win one. I don't think I even won a point, but I got every ball. You know, it was just because he just made me run so much. You know the position, you know where to hit.
There's a lot of similarities in what you can do with your opponent in squash and fencing, and most of the way of winning is not being sort of massively faster and whatever. It's making sure that you've put your opponent just where you want them. Of course, if you have somebody that can think as well, then the quicker one's going to win. But
I was running around him like the Calamity Coyote. I was like forward, back, and side. I was exhausted. Don't do fencing much anymore. Or
I keep meaning to start again. I've still got all the kit at home.
It's evenings, isn't it, as well?
It was the burgeoning comedy that rather knocked it on the head about 3-4 years ago. When I started trying to make my way on the comedy circuit. If fencing's once a month, then 2 or 3 gigs on the wrong Thursday, and you've just not been through a quarter of a year. No, I was thinking about it. It's once a week, but it's a question of getting yourself out, really, isn't it? It's a balance that you have to find. At the moment, I don't think I've got that balance quite right. Who knows? I ended up buying myself a bicycle.
Yeah.
Hence the whole gate story.
Yeah.
Went out on that. The body kind of remembers being able to power up all the hills in High Wycombe without really worrying about it. So I just started off whizzing up the hill and thought, hey, I can manage this. Nearly at the top one, and I thought, that was a mistake.
Oh no. Did you get cramped or something? Or?
No, basically the amount of energy that I'd used up in that couple of minutes going up if you know Wicken,
it's quite a big hill, isn't it?
Well, everywhere's on a hill. What turns out.
But it's been disgrace. So you lie down on that mat. Yeah, that's right.
Anyway. I'd like to point out to the people listening that Winter is currently talking to the dog.
You lie down on that mat. That's right. I've got you on this podcast and you're staying on that mat. I'm sitting on a high chair at the moment. No, I like to meet all my guests at the same level, you know. We're all actually sitting on a couch. We're both sitting on a couch. The slight thing, trying to get out, isn't it? It's trying to find a gig, life balance. It's kind of hard, isn't it, sometimes? Exhausting, like physically and mentally.
One of the things that has made it easier in the last year or two is that my children are now pretty much self-sufficient. I do a little bit of parental taxi, but nothing like it was a couple of years ago. And so I have that much more time to be able to gig and to be able to say, yep, I'm going, without having to sort of check that I'm not needed elsewhere. It's made a big difference to the number of, if like last minute bills I've been able to jump onto, and I quite like doing that.
Some dropped out last minute, but yeah, you got to be available, haven't you? It's the most important thing. How long have you been going, Phil? You've been going a few years, haven't you?
Well, it's a question I always have difficult, because it's one of the things that almost every comedian asks another comedian. But I've been on the comedy circuit since 2012. But before then, was on what you might call the poetry circuit, the alternative poetry circuit, because what I do is certainly an alternative to poetry. A group called Rhythmical Ravings and Rants, and so those gigs were fantastic. An awful lot of energy and wit that went into them all. Combination of straight poetry, straight music, and funny music. So much energy and creativity in an evening. But that one thing I've noticed was a lot of the performers from that group have actually got really good at doing what they do, and I think over a few years we really did improve each other a lot.
Those nights can be nice to play sometimes, but I did. Have you done? Is it Loughton Folk Club?
No.
In Loughton, obviously, there's a folk club there. I remember a few years ago I did it. Like I was like, I'm looking for, because you know that list of open mics of every kind. It's like, found the list. I'm going to email every one of those places, and then went to this gig and did like my bit, my shtick or whatever I had at the time, and then like it went okay. There was no microphone, no nothing, but it went okay, you know. And they're like, well, Winter, we'll have you back, but less swearing next time, you know. So I was like, okay, we'll see. I might go back there, because they were lovely. It was an audience, and it was like about maybe 10, 15, you know. I might go back to try some new stuff there, but they were really nice, you know, really appreciative rather than
I've done a lot of music open mics over the years. I mean, before going around with rants, I spent the previous few years on music open mics and playing the same sorts of silly songs around campfires. I mean, it's really the live role play campfire.
Oh yeah,
is where if I had to say that this is where my career. You can't say career in very big inverted commas started, would have been live role play festival campfire things.
Did you change your material for the being in character? Did you like do songs about orcs? And
one of the favourite ones is Got by the Ghoulies,
right?
Which is it's actually a semi-true. It's basically a true story of an actual adventure that happened, set to music, and it is quite funny. And that and some songs about live role playing, like I did a When I'm on Adventures to When I'm Cleaning Windows. Lines like, it's just like Shorter Please, one of my favourite fantasies is girls in chainmail bikinis when I'm on adventures, that sort of.
Yeah. And you got a captive audience as well.
Yeah. Well, not really. I did at one point get sort of dragged from one campfire to another to sing a guy's stag night.
Oh, great!
It's like, yeah. And some of the different sorts of alcohol that get passed around at these things is, you know, the first taste of chili vodka, which is it's great. If you've been singing for 5 hours straight at 2 in the morning, it's a wonderful thing for the vocal cords.
A good kick, definitely. It gives me hiccups. It gives me the worst hiccups ever. Oh, any really strong chilies now get hiccups. It's just, I think I'm getting older now. It's like my throat can't take it anymore. And like, you have like you said to me once, I think 10,000 songs. Did you say 1,000?
No, I've written 1,000 parodies. Well, it's about 1,200 parodies.
Right.
In the past, I counted a few years ago, after I've been going for about 5 years, that I'd sung 250 different songs, and I've added at least 100 since. I've sung 350 different songs in the past decade or so.
Wow.
Which is still quite a lot. So the ones that are in the set now do tend to be the fairly strong ones.
Yeah.
I do get a bit bored of doing the same ones over and over, so they do change quite a bit.
They're all favourites, though, aren't they? You know, I mean, you get people asking you for your best songs as well. I know the one that you always close with. It's great.
It's still my most requested song.
It's brilliant, though. It's great.
And it, oddly enough, I don't know where some people actually get it. You know, I went to Boston, and I was closed the night there. It was a lovely gig. If you get the Chaplin's Bar cellar, beautifully decorated, lovely place. I just sort of fell in love with the decor as soon as I walked through the door, and lovely audience as well. They're really up for it. It was like, you are going to sing that song, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Don't give it away. Come see the song. It's great.
No, it's one that's.
It's never gone badly. Has it ever gone like that one?
Oh, I've been booed off by 250 people. I mean, there were slightly more extenuating circumstances than that. I was very annoyed at the point where I got on stage. I was introduced as Philfy Phil, and I said, "How filthy do you want it?" I said, "This roar of filth." He came back, "Really filthy?" This boy shouted out the back, "Really fucking filthy!" so I opened with it.
Yeah.
Which probably wasn't the right thing to be doing. But on the bright side, it did, if you like, confirm a theory that I had, that I do kind of need an audience to come with me or to take me down to that kind of level. You know, if you just throw it cold before the audience is on your side, then yes, they can turn against you, because it's filthy. It's very funny, but you kind of need people to give you just that bit of leeway to get into it.
Yeah, make them your friend first, isn't it, really?
The only exception I did do my last time up in Edinburgh, Jay Islam's Dr. Sicko's Comedy Vomit.
Yeah,
and so I opened with that one there, and that was opening the whole night, and it was, you know,
great.
Just that hit the tone perfectly, because that's what people were there for.
Exactly. The name said exactly what it does really on the tin, doesn't it? You know, that's what we do.
No, I was quite sad actually, because one of the other acts on the bill that night had forgotten her ID. And you know what they're like up there. It's if they even suspect you're under 18, they won't let you in. It's like, she's here to be singing the most ridiculously filthy songs. Don't care.
That's it.
But we're not sure she's 18. She's not coming in.
Oh God.
Nobody asks me anymore.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, no, you and me both, man. You and me both. That's just life. Sad old dudes. It's fine. Use that.
But then again,
wasted.
Two and a half times plus 18 years old. It's not exactly surprising, is it?
Is that the beard, like
having a 8-10 inch long beard now.
You know, I had a haircut today, and like, you know, the more she shaved in, the more the grey I could see, and I was like, "Oh, are you painting that on? Is that a brush you're using, not a razor?" You know, so I was like, "Oh, I know exactly how you feel." And you say you're going to Edinburgh this year anyway, so kind of like just a few spots up there. How are you? You're sleeping in the van again?
No, I'm staying at the container hotel.
Oh yeah, that looked great. How much is it?
It's 14 quid a night during the week and 18 quid at weekends.
That's bloody good, isn't it?
So my combined train fare and stay is a couple hundred quid. So you know, you could.
It's amazing.
That's an awful lot less than I was thinking it would be, which is why I haven't been booking the stuff. I haven't taken my own show up, partly because I didn't decide to go up until way too late to actually get it booked in, but mainly because I just don't have the desire to do all the housekeeping that goes with your own show.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already got half a dozen spots that are, you know, fill the full 45 minutes. One of the joys about being a musical comedian, you can get to the music ones as well. Yeah. And so I'll be singing sort of 45 minutes of clean music.
Excellent. But you can. But I mean, the great thing is that you could make money easily, Phil, couldn't you, up in Edinburgh? Because easily. It's like you could go up there and like do your 45, 40 hours to 45 to an hour, and like people would always put money in the bucket because they'd be always pleasantly entertained with the songs. You can just sit back and they don't have to engage, or they can't. Well, they can be offended or whatever. But you've asked them what they want anyway, so it's.
The afternoon ones. I'm basically one of the joys of the last CD I recorded.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've mentioned it to you, but it's a double CD.
Mm-hmm.
One CD's clean and one CD's filthy.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can sing stuff from one CD to last for a best part of an hour. And
Right.
and then come the evening gigs, I'll switch to the other one.
Yeah. 2 sets. That's great. You got a choice. You don't have. That's it. 30.
The whole ask the audience shtick. Do you want me to go higher or lower? I'd say it's still roughly 9 out of 10 say lower.
Mm-hmm.
But quite a few recently, I went down to Evesham. Oh God,
Keith Nordlich, is it? The Evesham Theatre? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They got to the Katy Perry parody and thought, no, that's probably about enough, we'll go higher from here.
All right.
A couple of places have done that recently.
Mm.
That one, you could see people not being entirely happy, we're not going any lower than this.
Right.
And so, but that's fine because
You've got stuff.
And it gives me a bit of variation. I get a chance to do ones that I don't normally do.
Sometimes, you get audiences don't know what the hell they want, do they?
Oh yeah,
like, lower, higher, I don't know.
On Saturday, somebody shouting out Andy Gleesy's new one into.
I had him on here and he said he's opened up a new one. That's the new one he did. Was it nice?
For a first night, new venue, bloody hell, it was marvellous.
Yeah.
Really, really nice audience, really up for it.
Great.
I opened that one. Yeah, I suppose they did want the filter really, but which it's. I'm not
adverse to a bit of film. Of course not. This is it. We need to kind of take it where they want to go, isn't it? And you opened it, and who closed?
Steve M. Williams.
Oh yeah, the impressionist.
Yes,
great.
He's super.
Great. Because he's gone full time as well, hasn't he?
Has he?
I think he has. I think he's finished in his day job.
It was. I think it was down for a 20. It probably went off about half an hour. He's good at the best of times. Now there was one particularly drunk audience member who was throwing back some, just the what the hell did he say sort of stuff that isn't funny and can kill a comedy night completely. But when you can reply in character, that really kind of works.
That's great. I must see him. I can't wait to see him again because I haven't seen him for a few months now. When was that? Last week?
That was on Saturday.
And that's just outside Oxfordshire, is it? Okay.
Thames, Oxfordshire.
Thames, Oxfordshire, right.
We're kind of Bucks based, but Thames only just over the border. Not that it makes a humongous amount of difference whether you're in Bucks or Oxford.
It's like anything under 4 hours is fine, isn't it? Now it's like 5 hours are fine. Just put the tunes on, it's grand.
No, it was the previous weekend. It was Evesham on the Friday and Hastings on the Saturday. 450 miles in 48 hours. That was silly.
And yourself, you've done a lot of miles when you're like, oh, my oil indicator seems to be coming on an awful lot. Keeping a bottle of oil with you at all times now.
Oddly enough, I have a 5 litre bottle of oil in the back of the car. Previous car I owned before this one, I thought I'm going to wait until it goes through all the twos. Yeah. 222 miles. And so I did actually sort of pull over to the side of the road and take a photo of the tacho at that point. Yeah. 10 miles later, it was booked in for an MOT,
right.
And the list of shit that came back on the MOT was like, no, that's not worth keeping.
No.
And mechanic, the guy that did the MOT, I basically sort of said, fine, shift it, see what you can, He said that he put it through its I think he probably gave me about 50 quid for it, including me knocking off what he'd done for the MOT. And he said that by the time he'd done all the work on it to get it through himself, he got back 300 and something quid, which in effect means that he did the work for nothing, because it would have been 300 quid in parts by the time.
It's time, isn't it? Time is money, that's it, it's always the way.
But actually I've got it was a Rover 75.
Oh, right.
Most comfortable car I've ever driven. Fantastically smooth.
Yeah. You're doing the Alan Partridge now. You're doing the Alan Partridge thing as well. It's a Rover.
I've owned just the one, but I've driven another one long distance, and again that was a fantastically comfortable car. They seem to manage to get a seat that works perfectly in a way that no other car manufacturer has. I mean, I drove to Edinburgh in the Rover in one go and got out feeling fine. I tried doing the same thing in the Vectra.
Good luck. Well, same with the Golf, to be honest. You drive anywhere like more than 3 hours, you're like, oh, someone tried to cut my leg off just above the knee. It's for the hamstrings, isn't it? Huh?
And you get out and go creak as you stretch as you get out of the car. Yeah, like I said, can't speak highly enough about the Rover, but haven't found another car that even comes close.
You're doing some nice gigs recently. Any craziness happened on those gigs that you've had to deal with, or
I think
insanity?
I think the thing about being a musical comedian is it does tend to limit the likelihood of craziness. People don't get the feeling that they can chat back in quite the same way, and if they do, you just start singing and sing louder. I come to think this was actually before I really started in comedy. Having seen a particularly intrusive heckler, I did write a "What Should We Do with a Drunken Heckler?" Drunken Sailor parody. With instead of the "Hooray and up she rises," it's a "Sit down and shut the fuck up." Never had to use it. It's like I said, it doesn't seem to happen to musical comedy in the same way as it can do to. In some cases, you can see comedians whose delivery makes people think that they're expecting something back. And after a certain amount of alcohol, there are people that don't realise that it's kind of a rhetorical, unspoken question, but answer back anyway. I mean, did you do any of Brain Fade? The chappie for Shelter?
Yes, I did. Damien Kingsley.
Damien Kingsley.
That's right, I did. With Mr. Norton Walker, we went up there in live course, and it was in the middle of the sticks of nowhere, and they were playing Kaplunk. Most of the audience were playing Kaplunk, and we managed to drag in 16 people that weren't interested in the Kaplunk. I mean, it was touch and go there. We'd have anyone at all. If we managed to cull together 16 people, and they were really nice. But no, we didn't have anyone heckle at all. Really, they were kind of into it,
So the one of his, it was actually in Thame, but a different pub in Thame. First really nice day of the year, and we had an audience, about half of which had basically gone to the pub at lunchtime and hadn't left and had been drinking, and were at that level of alcohol saturated that they really had no control.
Yeah.
And one or two people like that you could probably have. There were half a dozen or so, and it was quite tricky. And stopping them from just talking to each other at a volume that was distracting. Again, I had the easiest one of it because from a musical perspective, you just
go through your songs.
You just belt it out, and if people are talking, just belt it out louder.
You're literally a jukebox with a volume control at that point, aren't you? That's what you are. It's like, jukebox the shit out of this. The thing, I think they can derail a stand-up. If someone heckles it just wrong, like at a punchline, whereas like at a chorus, there's always going to be another line to the chorus that is going to be funny, or another change to it. It's going to be good. That they can't really get on it because it's louder, isn't it?
And the other thing about it is that there's an acceptance in the audience that the song doesn't stop, whereas a heckle can, as you say, it can put somebody off their stride. Like it could, the flow of. Although for the comedian it often is quite important, which is one of the reasons that heckling can be tricky for people. But from the perspective of an audience member, if you heckle during a song, I mean, I've had some absolutely glorious heckles during a song. I mean, in the middle of the aforementioned song that I don't know what our
how they're going to think about this. Well, that's good. It keeps them in suspense.
They can just buy the CD.
Yeah, buy the CD. What's the CD called?
It's called A Few Good Songs.
A Few Good Songs.
And so you've got the Philfy one is you want the filth, and the clean one is you can't handle the filth. So
that's great. I like that. Yeah, that all fits in with the a few good songs theme.
Yeah, I mean, its previous one was sex, drugs, and rotten jokes.
Right.
Again, the CDs themselves are a parody.
Right.
If you see what I mean, most of the clean ones are nearly all the clean ones are parodies, and about half the filthy ones are parodies. I stopped writing parodies for performance because of the law on parody.
Oh, right.
Which of course changed in 2013. Vince Cable as business secretary waved through the recommendations that basically said, well, before then, to do parody legally, you had to have the permission of the copyright holder of the song before you performed it. Now, you could always do a cover version, and post hoc, if they didn't like your cover version, they could tell you to get rid of it.
Right.
But there was nothing to say you didn't need permission beforehand to do a cover.
Yeah.
But for a parody, you actually needed permission. Nobody ever came. As a parody writer for God knows how many years, I can say that the only people who ever responded were simple negatives. I don't think anybody ever responded with a yes, but I started taking a lack of response as not being a
no.
A no.
That's basically ridiculous. You have different words to the song. The backing track, it might be similar.
Well, again, from a purely royalties perspective, if I were to sell God knows how many millions of these CDs, I would have to be paying royalties to the people that wrote the music.
Of course, yeah.
I guess that would probably be about 25%, because it's roughly 50-50 between the performing artist and the writer, and I'm guessing you're talking 50-50 between the lyric and music side.
Right.
But the other thing about parodies, I've been writing a lot for News Review recently, which is a satirical news review. It's a satirical review that runs 4 nights a week in Little Venice in northwest London, and because they're topical, they need humongous amounts of material, which for me is ideal because I write lots of material and it takes me forever to learn a new song properly. I've been trying to learn, Be Our Guest from Beauty and the Beast. It's a pain in the arse as the songs go. It's got way too many chords. It's one of my favourite songs to parody, and I've written quite a few very different sorts of parody, from the fairly rude to the very political.
And is it like a live show, or is it like
it's a live. There's 4 cast members and a pianist, and it's a combination of sketches and songs and the occasional voiceover between things.
And who else do you do that with? And who produces that?
I get producer changes. I mean, News Review counts itself as the longest running live review show,
right?
And it has been going for decades.
Do they record it and put it on radio or not? It's just live.
No, it's live.
Oh, great!
It's the theatre.
Wonderful.
And the show is it's basically an hour long, sometimes slightly stretchy hour.
Yeah.
But they fit so much in an hour.
Yeah.
It's very, very high energy.
Yeah.
So much comes at you so quickly. It feels like longer. But it's marvellous. And I have to say, it was absolutely wonderful to see stuff that I'd written performed by really talented people. I did a supercalifragilistic parody about super injunctions. I have tried to play it on more than one occasion. I couldn't get the words out. I just couldn't do that one. And I've got another song to the same tune about dinosaurs. I don't know if it's the Stegodontobranchilophone and Odontosaurus.
No.
Basically, because they named dinosaurs by finding a bone that they don't recognise. There's quite a lot of dinosaurs that haven't they've been named as a separate species based on 1 or 2 bones, and then they realise it actually fits in another dinosaur skeleton, and so 2 different dinosaurs get merged.
Yeah.
But no, I wrote a song about that plethora of dinosaurs, which is one of the songs that gets played if people want the clean stuff.
And so you produce the material for those guys?
Yeah.
And do you ever get to perform it, or do you just want to go along and watch it, how it's going? And
well, I've one of the joys of giving them material is that you get a writer's freebie, so a writer's complimentary pass. So I've been to see it 3 or 4 times. When they did my Hillary song, a Prince Ali from Aladdin parody about Hillary Clinton.
Whoa, that is so good. That's great. And you're jumping on the Disney train that everyone's seen that stuff as well. They can easily hook into. That's great. Was it done on piano?
Yeah.
I guess it's because it'd be harder to play that with the amount of chords you got to get out.
Oh, supercalifragilistic is easy actually because it's it's just a CFG.
Right.
It's just a C G7 G7C sort of. It's if you want to play it, with a ding 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 sort of note pick, it can be quite quick. But I do tend to start that way and then just go into strumming ever faster because it's
so quick, isn't it? Yeah. It's so fast, that song. And do you do any other writing apart from that? Or?
I did send off to another topical review, Treason Show down in Brighton. They've not had. I say they haven't taken any of mine yet, but they've only actually had a couple so far, and I've not heard back to hear whether they've used them or not. But the politics in the last week or two has been. I mean, I think I ended up sending off about half a dozen parodies in the end to newsreview because I'd write something and it would be out of date by the end of the day. I did one about Boris Johnson, which would have been, it was basically assuming that he was still going to be running for Prime Minister. And within 24 hours of my sending it off, he pulled out. So I ended up doing a What's Up, the Four Non Blondes, with a chorus. And I said, hey, what's going on? Because it was starting to get a bit that way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So I don't know what of mine they've used. I did send through a So Long Farewell, Auf Wiedersehen EU.
Yeah.
As in case we voted out.
Yeah.
They wanted to have both in and out songs prepared. So on the evening of the referendum, when the referendum result came out, they had something expressing that result. They haven't actually sent out the running orders, but I don't know which. I don't know if they used my songs for that one or not. I've just written the most glorious Theresa May song.
Right.
As a It's My Time to Lead, I'm Teresa.
Yeah.
Don't Cry for Me Argentina parody.
Nice.
Which marvellously diva-ish, and that should. The thing is, you don't know if somebody else is going to write something not necessarily better, just something that works better in the way the show works.
Do you prefer to do satire, or do you prefer to get down and dirty with the clubs?
I'm not sure that I have a favourite. I've always written satirical stuff. I've always written smutty stuff. I've always written I've written sort of scientific stuff that you could do your homework with, your GCSE and A-level revision to.
Yeah.
For me, it's the if I have an idea that fits a song, then that tends to get written. Yeah. And where the idea comes from, it can be just words spoken in a rhythm. Every so often, somebody says something on to a rhythm, and like a while back, somebody just was talking about brute force and ignorance, and thought that just scans perfectly to Mad Dogs and Englishmen. So I wrote a brute force and ignorance parody, which kind of wrote itself after. Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes I have something. One of the things that news review has done is it's made me far more the other way around. Start with a topic and then try and find a song it fits to. The Theresa May one, I was basically going through May Theresa, and then the I'm Teresa Argentina. Substitution just sort of kicked in. I thought, that'll work. But it's it's a very different song to parody because there's no real rhythm or rhyme to the verses. Everybody knows the chorus, but nobody really knows how the verses go. And there's hardly any rhymes all the way through. And so trying to write something that has the same sort of feel to it it's actually a lot harder than trying to fit words to a regular meter. Another favourite song parody. Do you know the Major General song? It's the I'm the very model of a modern Major General. Gilbert and Sullivan stuff. But lots of words, lots of intricate rhymes, and I've parodied that a dozen times or so, all sorts of different things. One of the things that they said, they had a writers' meeting for the Edinburgh show, and one of the things they said that always goes down well with audiences is the ones where you recognise what the song is and the hook that you hang the chorus on. And they actually quoted that they name checked one of my submissions as an example of that, which Peggy Lee's Fever. The way dum 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 dum. Yeah. Fever. Yeah. In the morning. Yeah. I did one about Sepp Blatter.
Yeah. Right.
It's FIFA. Obviously.
Yeah. Great.
And oddly enough, that was one that I wrote many years ago when it was first time round. And then, of course, Blatter has been the
football.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh,
he's been such a monumentally corrupt bastard with
a gift, really, though, isn't he?
He's a gift to satire because he just doesn't seem to accept that anything could possibly be to do with him.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody that's voting for him back in again are the ones that are receiving this slush money. And so, of course, he gets re-elected.
Yeah.
How could he not get re-elected? Basically, asking the various FIFA members, the various FIFA turkeys to vote for Christmas and take their money away.
He's the head of the human centipede, isn't he, really? That is what he is,
That is a mental image I really didn't want to.
Sorry, Phil. I thought you might like higher or lower. I took it lower. I didn't even ask.
But no, because Blatter is not the most aesthetically pleasing person to look at the best of times.
No,
and I said massively rhinoceros thick hide. But it's a gift to satire.
Yeah, like Brexit. It's like an absolute gift. Golden age.
One of the things about Brexit from a satirist perspective is that it got so close to caricature of itself. I mean, the whole argument on the run up to the referendum was, it was abysmal. Both campaigns unable to tell any kind of truth at all. And it turned into a battle of, who could tell the more pervasive lie. And it's difficult to say what would have worked, to be honest, but because there is a definite ingrained tendency. Gove touched on it when he said, we don't like experts telling us how things are going to be because they're always wrong. When I'm not sure what the prognosis is, because something that I think Change.org or one of that ilk is going around saying we ought to have a political fact, an official political fact checker, somebody that is part of the establishment. That if you're running for office and you say something that is factually incorrect, has the power to turn around and say, no, you retract that. A bit like, I was about to say, a bit like the press regulator.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, it's a bit like the press regulator was supposed to be after Leveson, but what's actually been implemented is nothing like that at all. Closer to the advertising standards.
That's what I was thinking, yeah that's exactly what I was thinking.
The advertising standards do have the power just to say, no, you're not running this advert, usually too late, because the ads run, it's made its impact, and then they turn around and say, no, that's misleading, you've got to pull it.
Exactly. But at least you have the truth behind it, kind of going, well, actually, no, it's wrong. Okay, great, well, we have the real facts or stats to debunk or back it up.
But the thing is that the whole 350 million a week lie,
of course,
because it was a sort of exaggeration that can only be called a lie, and it was called very early on, and you start realising that the almost the echo chamber that you exist on in social media. I think just about all my friends on Facebook were ranting about how they keep repeating this lie. I mean, it was a lie that caused Sarah Wollaston to jump ship from the Brexit to Remain, because she was annoyed with the way it was so oft repeated. and yet in polls a day or two before polling day, it was showing that 47% of people still thought that it was true. Which shows that it doesn't matter how much you say something is a lie, people will still believe it if you repeat it often enough.
Or maybe if you compare it to comedy, the first time someone sees you, it's good, if you do well, that's imprinted on their brains. It's going to take an awful long time to just turn it around.
if somebody sees you being shit, then it takes an awful long time before they'll book you. However many times they get rave reviews.
Exactly, or the word goes out. Like, oh no, they're better now. Or that's it. You need to first impression. It gets burnt in.
Oh no!
So it's funny, just a musical comic. That's right. Goddamn musies.
I would. Things with the comedy side, because I've been going for such a long time before I started on the comedy circuit. Yeah. I've always had a confidence in the material that. I know the songs are funny. I mean, I was fairly aware from early on that the bits that weren't songs were pretty shit. And that has improved a lot. That my audience interaction and I even remember to tell jokes occasionally. It's a bit weird. That has improved a lot. And the act as a whole has got a lot better. But right from the start, I was happy that the songs were funny. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the material I'm doing now is still stuff that I wrote before I started doing comedy.
And you get an applause break after every song as well. It's always helpful, isn't it?
Such the ego, yeah.
Exactly.
I do have one. It's funny actually. I do have one or two songs that because of the way they end, people don't always realise that they've finished. And so I don't like to prompt my own applause breaks, so I do have a tendency to run straight on. But the downside of that is, at the point where people realise, I'm already going into the next thing, and then people realise that the song's finished, and start applauding. And then everyone joins in and you think, no, shut up.
Yeah. But hold your applause, please, guys. Hold it. Oh, yeah, I get that a lot. Phil. It's a curse, isn't it? It's a cross you've got to bear, Phil.
Absolutely.
You only have, how many songs you do, like 7, 8 songs a set, or?
Well, I mean, it depends. For a 10-minute set's 3 songs. Yeah. 15-minute set, it's basically 4 songs. Yeah. And I'll do a bit more meandering in the middle. Yeah. 20-minute set,
averaging about then 6 songs, 20 minutes set. Yeah. It's averaging about 6 applause breaks, and then maybe a big round of applause at the end just to top it all off, and maybe an encore. So rough average about 10 rounds of applause. Yeah. It sounds terrible. Sounds it's tough.
It's very, very, very hard to deal with.
Heartbreaking. Yeah. You better get a joke out in that time, isn't it? And it's 10 applause breaks. Wow.
No, but of course, as somebody at this kind of level in the comedy world, you'll appreciate this. One of the great things about writing for News Review is I get a royalty check.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so between 20 and 40 quid for a run. Might even add up to 100 quid in a year.
No, definitely. I mean, and look, that's money just coming in. You don't have to go out for that. You don't have to turn up to watch it or anything, do you?
No, I don't. No. I kind of regret not going along to see FIFA when it was running, because that's probably not quite half my royalties, but it was a sizable chunk because it ran from about September to December. Yeah. It must have just carried on going that well.
But it's like it's going to keep on coming up, isn't it? As well, you got like FIFA, because he's still there, isn't he? He's still he's masterminding all this.
Lord knows what he's doing now. Hopefully, he's going to end up in prison. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure to what extent they go back to old stuff like that. I thought the Hillary song was actually going to run for longer than it did, because it was good.
Hillary Clinton, but she might even be president. You never know, so that can come back up again, isn't it?
One of the nice things seeing it being performed live is that I put little asides about Benghazi and email servers and what have you, and they got laughs. So I would never have done that song at a comedy set because people wouldn't have got the references. But because they're going, the people that are going to News Review are obviously well enough clued up in the news or about the news. to recognise sort of Benghazi jokes, and
politically savvy, and that's it. They're well versed. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
They're trained for what they're coming to see, which is great.
It's a bit like it's a couple of years ago now. I played at Wikimania.
Right.
I keep talking about this gig because it was the bizarrest thing ever. At the Barbican Concert Hall.
All right.
So 2,000 empty seats.
Oh,
about 70 people in the audience.
started well that bit. 2,000 empty seats.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And I did a techie set. I mean, half of it has never been done before or since. Half of it has been done, once or twice before, and once or twice since. But they can only really work for an audience that a large enough proportion of the audience are computer based. But for there was a chap in the audience just chuckling away, nearly pissing himself at a song that's just about the transfer control protocol, internet protocol, application programmers interface.
Wow.
With join-in chorus,
Yeah.
because it's the TCP/IP. Sets the tune of "She'll Be Coming Round the Mountain."
Right.
And it's funny, that one is the one that I've played on odd occasions since, because just in case anybody's wondering,
it's a dog.
It's a dog.
He's falling asleep at that. Sorry, because you're also a programmer, Phil, aren't you?
Yeah,
as well. That's
right.
That's it. So it was a very heavily IT based set that was, I'm sure.
It was.
And have you tried to market that to any tech savvy?
Not really. No.
Events. No.
No. I it was a bit like I did a Skeptics at the Pub open mic, and I did a load of skeptical material. I mean, one of the joyous things, I did a song about Homeopathy Week.
Okay.
As a parody to Tom Lehrer's National Brotherhood Week. And it shows the sort of audience it was, that they not only got the references to the parody, but nearly all of them knew the original, which says something about the sort of, because National Brotherhood Week's satire from the 60s.
Right. I don't know what it is.
Tom Lehrer is a mathematics lecturer at Harvard.
Yeah.
And late 50s he released it's one of the archetypes of musical comedy, really.
Oh, right.
It's anybody like me who's seen musical, they'll know and will have been heavily influenced by Tom Lehrer. And some of his songs are still, for satire back then. He did a song called Send the Marines. When someone makes a move of which we don't approve, who is it that always intervenes? UN and OAS, they have their place, I guess, but first, send the Marines.
Right.
I think, so what's changed?
Yeah.
Americans are still doing it. And there's a lot of his stuff that's still remarkably apposite.
Right.
And it's very, very clever lyricist as well. So it's nice to where you've got a song that's lyrically clever. It's actually an awful lot easier to turn that into a good parody, something an interesting parody that works well. And if you actually know the original song, then that's
the hook.
But like I said, the skeptical stuff. I think, that would be a whole new direction. The only other podcast I've been recorded on was a guy from Skeptics in the Pub that after that set sort of thought, stick this guy on a podcast. And I recorded a measles outbreak in Liverpool anti-vax song as a parody to Long Haired Lover from Liverpool.
Right.
Oddly enough, fewer people in the audience knew that song, knew Long Haired Lover from Liverpool than knew Tom Lehrer, which is very, very unexpected. But again, that's the direction I'd quite like to go in. But I don't really have enough of a self-promotional vibe in me to try and exploit all these potential avenues. I guess what I'm going to do is wait till I'm massively famous and let them come to me. So.
Yeah, look, you've got a gate to build. You can't. You got to go cycling. You can't do everything. That's it.
Nice callback.
you need to kind of tie it all together, isn't it? You need to have the work-life balance in there. Fencing, LARPing. You can't do everything. It's not possible. You need a little assistant. Is what you need to just do all the PR for you. Or an agent. or something like that.
I have thought it would probably, from a purely comedy career sort of viewpoint, an agent would probably be a very sensible thing for me, because I don't push myself anything like hard enough to get more and better gigs. But then I haven't actually pushed myself to get an agent either. So
That skeptic gig, is it?
yeah.
Is that still going?
Well, they have regular meetings through Skeptics in the pub once a month, but they've only had one sort of like open mic type thing since, and I was gigging.
Yeah.
Which would quite like to have got down to that, because again, there's so much of this bloody material. And the other thing about that one was a friend of mine pointed it out to me 24 hours in advance, and so I was pulling out some songs I'd never played before, and spending one evening desperately trying to learn 3 or 4 of them, which, if you know what I'm like on a guitar, is painful. Actually went better than I was expecting. I first run-outs for most songs from me tend to be fairly shambolic.
So you're just knocking out the kinks in it. That's all we do. We're just knocking the kinks out of the stuff. So you have your CD, which is a few good songs. And what's the 2 sides of it called again?
You want the filth.
You want the filth.
You can't handle
You can't handle the filth. Right. Is that available on iTunes?
No, because I can't abide out iTunes.
Right.
Maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot. It's downloadable from the website. Simplest one to go for is bit.ly/Philfy Phil.
bit.ly/Philfy Phil.
Yeah. Philfy is a Philfy.
Are you on Twitter and all the like?
Oddly enough, I am, but I don't really tweet very much.
That's fine. What's your Twitter handle?
At the Philfy Phil.
At the Philfy Phil, yeah.
Yeah. And similarly, facebook.com/thefilthyphil will find me as well.
Great.
It's oddly enough, just Philfy Phil on its own is gone. I'm way too late an adopter to have got the originals.
Yeah.
But the Philfy Phil.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's always better with the. I find the comedy defect. And I couldn't have, for my name on Facebook, I couldn't have just Winter either, or Winter Comedy. It's already gone yonks ago, It's a bit annoying, but could spell it with a Y maybe, but it's not my name.
I bet Fernando would have been.
My name is I tried to put Winter Phonander as like a handle on something, for something, probably Facebook or something. It just went, no, it's too long. And I'm like, but I can have it on Twitter, which is just long enough. I'm like, great, thanks.
How do you get the in there?
It's implied. Well, Phil, thanks for coming on the show, man. I really enjoyed it. It's been good.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Well, good luck with your gate and the songs. And I hope you get the arching slit in there as well, or the nerf slit. You have to make it extra large because of the nerf things are quite.
Well, no, just make it wide enough for the nerf dart to go through.
Yeah.
You don't need to stick the whole gun through.
It's true. Yeah.
I might just paint it on so that it looks like there's a slit rather than actually being
an eye through the slit. Beady eye. And a bit of beard hanging down, maybe. Looks like your eye. And,
yes, and a hint of an arrowhead coming out, so that people might think twice before coming around the side of my house.
Exactly, but they can't get in that way at the moment. Well, at the moment they can't get in that way, but when you fix the gate, that's the thing. When time you need it.
Yeah. Well, the thing I'm actually. Part of the thing, I'm sticking a combination lock on it because that's the whole point, is to be able to go around the back without needing to take a key and shit like that.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah. I say thanks for coming on, Phil. It's been great.
Lovely. Thanks for having me.
And that was Philfy Phil Alexander. I hope you enjoyed that. I really like spending time with Phil. He's different energy to me, a little bit lower, so it's nice to kind of meet him on that level. We've got Jim Daly for episode 11 next week. Now, Jim is a football parody guy. I think he's been on every single football podcast you can name. Really good guy. He's on YouTube. Check his stuff out. Jim Daly's on YouTube. He's, as a parody guy, he's getting a lot of traction with that. We talked to him about how to share your content, how to kind of get known, how to present your stuff out there, and the love and the joy of actually just making things. He was a great guy to talk to. We finally got round to talking about the craft because we're just having so much fun. That is next Wednesday, same time, 8 a.m. it'll come out because I'm OCD. But he was great to talk to. Check his stuff out on YouTube. If you want to follow the podcast, we're on Twitter at The Comedy Defect. If you want to follow me, it's at Winter Phonander. If you want to come see my live stand-up dates, look at the website, which is winterphonander.com. Now, if you want to donate to the podcast, You can find us on Patreon. Just go to Patreon, type in The Comedy Defect Podcast, and we're there. You can donate as much or as little as you want. But if you can't donate and you can't kick something back to us, just leave us a nice review or share your favourite episode, because it all helps. But that's it from us this week on The Comedy Defect. We'll see you next week for episode 11 with Jim Daly.